I felt it again in 2002 in Driver, Arkansas. My sister, a friend, and I were traveling through Arkansas, and we stopped at a small restaurant attached to a store. As soon as we walked in, the stares began. My sister and our friend ordered food, but not me. I just grabbed some chips and candy. The next day, they experienced severe stomach discomfort. Later, when we stopped near where my family had once lived, a white woman immediately approached us and questioned our presence. Wait, we weren't in her yard. We weren't causing trouble. We were just standing on land where my family had lived in the 1960s. Before they escaped sharecropping and left Arkansas for good. She didn't ask who we were. She didn't ask if we needed help. Not only that, instead, she questioned why we were there. That's the unspoken rule of sundown towns: you don't belong there. These personal experiences, though deeply impactful, are not isolated incidents. They reflect a broader pattern of exclusion that has shaped communities across the United States for decades, as evidenced by the histories of well-known sundown towns. Like Anna, Illinois has long been rumored to stand for, "Ain't no allowed." The name itself is a reminder of the town's history of exclusion. Vidor, Texas, a town with a strong Klan presence, and for many decades was hostile to Black residents. Marion, Indiana, experienced a period of racial tension in 1930. This event led Black people to avoid staying there overnight. Cicero, Illinois, became a focal point of racial tension in 1951 when a Black family attempted to move into a predominantly white area. Historically, some communities, including those like Darien, Connecticut, and Levittown, Pennsylvania, employed restrictive housing practices that limited homeownership for Black families. Glendale, California, was known for enforcing housing covenants that restricted occupancy based on race and used police tactics to maintain its predominantly white neighborhoods. Columbus, Nebraska, and Parsons, Kansas, have a history of Black exclusion, with reports of threats against those who attempted to stay overnight. It is important to remember that not all sundown towns were well known. Many operated in the shadows, without national attention, but with the same goal of racial exclusion. Let's talk about some of those lesser-known towns. Elwood and Portland, Indiana, had a strong Klan presence and remained hostile toward Black residents for decades. Pana, Illinois, had a history of racial tension involving Black coal miners in the early 1900s. Monticello, Kentucky, and Vienna, Illinois, displaced their Black populations in 1954, a full decade before the Civil Rights Act was passed. During the late 19th century, Evanston, Wyoming, had a history of excluding both Chinese and Black people. In the mid-20th century, some towns used official signals to enforce curfews for Black and Native residents. For example, Minden, Nevada, sounded a siren at 6 p.m. every evening. Others relied on unwritten rules, like Benton, Arkansas, and Appleton, Wisconsin, which aggressively enforced racial exclusion policies without ever needing a posted sign. That is where the Negro motorist Green Book came in. Created in 1936 by Victor Hugo Green, it was more than just a travel guide. It was a survival tool. The Green Book listed gas stations, restaurants, hotels, and other businesses where Black travelers could safely stop without fear of being turned away, harassed, or harmed. It covered states from the Deep South to the Midwest, from the East Coast to the West, because the danger was not limited to any one region. Black families depended on the Green Book the way people today rely on GPS. They mapped out their routes ahead of time, knowing exactly where they could stop and where they had to keep driving. There was no room for error, and the risk was constant. And the Green Book was the only guide Black travelers had to move safely through a country that saw them as unwelcome in so many places. The need for caution did not disappear when the Green Book stopped being published in 1966.
That's a wrap, History Seekers. Catch the full story on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Peace and love.